day, people.
Good
I'm excited
evening.
to have you, Mr. and Mrs. Steven. um, we're gonna start again. And today I'm even more excited because I can hear you guys audibly. Yesterday I was trying to hear all the plain pitches. So we're gonna start. How did you meet?
Okay, so we are jumping right into it.
Exactly.
We met in school in Iben. Uh, he was my roommate's cousin, right? And I think like 3 or 4 occasions he came to my room, but I was on the top bunk, so you can't see me when I'm inside there. But we officially met still in same 100 level. I think around auditorium, University of Benin, and he was like, fine girl. In my mind, I'm like, please, I know you. I will call his name. And I was like, oh, you know me. He was feeling like popular guy. And I was like, right. So yes, that's how we met.
So how did you? This question I was for Mrs. Steven. How did you know she was
How did I know she was the one? Uh, I would say that, like, I would do a follow up to what she said about meeting and then how it built up to settling down. Um, Meeting her and getting to know her personality um, over the years as a friend. Um, First things first, she never wanted to me to date her. She said she specifically asked for that request. I remember it was in the law, faculty of law. So she said, please do me a favor, don't ask me out. And very funny stuff. It's like, not on my mind, not on my mind. And but some years down the line, that changed. She pushed forward for a relationship. Um, and when that hit me in my face, I had to tell her, I said, I know you as my very good friend. And dating is not going to be like, let's see how it goes. It would definitely lead to marriage because we've had conversations about relationships, our relationships, individual relationships. We've had conversations about our lives, where we want to go, visions and things we've had. We've had really good conversations. So when this came to the forefront, it was like, man, Omo, it's going to be this. And so let's call it like a case of where um, fate happens. And so when she asked me out, it was I don't know how to say this, but uh, it's not the first time, but it was just I was like I never expected this. It was just a normal random conversation, and then we are here. How we're here, I'm like, what are we doing here? And so from there, I told her, "No, let me let's take a pause and go and think about this." So me thinking about this, of course, I prayed and I was like, God, I know that once this happens, it's definitely going to lead to marriage. And so, of course, I just went on straight because I knew the history and the friendship is solid enough to carry that. And so when we got to that part, I just moved on with it.
so how did you feel when you said to pray about?
I would have not expected less, right? Because so all through school, I think one of the things that really even made us really close, we love to attend programs, conference, those plenty things. We usually want to go together. So it's like, there's this, let's go. Susan person is coming. I'm like, okay, let's go. And then when he served in Kebbi, I served in Lagos. So after service, he came to Lagos. And even when we were in Lagos, like, oh, we are ministering. When come, stage drama. I'm like, okay, let's go. Right? Even video. So when he said, "Oh, this thing," because it wasn't like I did it with my full chest, right? It's not like I did it with my full chest. And initially, I didn't see him like I honestly didn't see him like that. I'm like, Erase. Hmm. As in, why? Because we had bonded so well that relationship was not a bit awkward, right? And but so when I had the conversation with my pastor, that's after the phone call that he called me, pranked me, I was sounding like somebody else. And after the phone call, Nancy was saying, "So why are you not dating this your friend?" Because I've always heard you talk about him. She has even seen him before because we've gone for a conference that she was ministering at together. And I was like, she was like, "Well, I've always said it to you, marry your friend. Because if you want to marry somebody that you're just meeting, you people are going to have issues. But you see, when you marry your friend, it's not like it's going to be any easier, right? But because you have been through a lot together, it will be easy for you people to carry on with the challenges that come with marriage." And immediately I was not looking at him. I'm like, hey, in my head, I'm like,
Scales fell off the eyes.
I'm like, okay, it's not that bad, right? So when I brought up the conversation and he said, let me go and think about it. Typical reason. Even till now in this marriage, when I say reason this thing, let's do it, he will say, let me think about it. And in my mind, I'm like, you've been thinking about these things like this for years. So I wasn't surprised because it was him usually to say, let me go and think about things. So yes.
Let's hear from you now.
We still fight every day, right?
Stubborn
And
BD girl, that's them.
stubborn Delta boy, right? We still fight every day. But I think there's something my friend was saying was like, Moibo, how did the two of you like when it comes to like we can fight about an issue and move on with other issues as if nothing is happening, right? I remember one time I was going for a retreat in Lakwe over the weekend, and me and him we had this terrible fight before I left the house. I'm like, leave me, I beg rest, you know. And when I got there, I felt sick, and I called him like for me, it was no, you're my husband, you're my husband. So whether we are fighting or not fighting, we'll deal with issues together. And I say, oh, Erezi, I'm having crisis. And immediately he started driving down. Like this distance is a lot. Traffic, the road was bad. But he came that night. And it's been like that for us. The fact that we can move on with knowing that we have some things that we need to settle between the two of us, but still moving on with other things as if nothing is wrong. Yes. So we fight, but we are okay. Your turn.
um, 4 years has been great. Uh, Marriage is a redefinition of who you are and an exposure to who um, things you don't know about yourself, and also a beamer to where God is taking you to. And so every day we see that in our lives. Uh, like she said, I never used to be the kind of guy that would say, I want to think about something. I used to be the spontaneous guy. Right now, being a leader, you have to now start thinking and like, okay, um, how does this happen? How does this play? So it's been a lot of fights and a lot of settles and a lot of challenges, a lot of great moments, a lot of things. But like in there's a film that says the show must go on. Just the way the producer says it, the show must go on, and so it goes on. In Warri they say we don't show. So yeah, that's basically a roller coaster of emotions.
to go home. Exactly. You must go. Share it. We want the juice.
Nobody does.
Me,
It has not done on me. Oh.
I want to go
It has
first.
not done on me yet.
If I give you one. You
It's
know when it dawned on me, I'm a first daughter, right? And my family, I used to like make decisions, like I'm my daddy's favorite. So what I say goes. And living as living living Benin, living my parents and living on my own, even living with my uncle, I still make major of the decisions, right? And when I was living on my own, I know I was like I decided on what I want to do and move past it. And there was, I think I was going to buy something, and I had the money to buy it. So we just came from Benin after the wedding. Was it? I think it was a freezer or something. I had the money to buy it, right? And I just said, "Oh, Eris, I'm buying a freezer. Um, I've seen one that is so and so. So I'm speaking with the guy. Let them send it." And he was like, "No, now, hold on. Let's think about it. Have you compared the freezer with another one? Is that a financial move we want to make now? Is it necessary since we have it?" I was just like, "Yeah, I don't understand. Is this how it's going to be? Like, I cannot just make up my mind and do something anymore." And it hits me every day because sometimes I'm like, even this invitation, I'm like, here's the I start saying, was like, let me think about it. So I'm like, by now I've done what I want to do, right? And I think it was even a major challenge for me in the first year, right? That I can't just say I want to do something and do it anymore. I can't just Yes, that's when it dawned on me that I'm in this thing. My parents usually don't make decisions. Tell them, convince them why that thing you want to do is, and then you go along with it. Whereas even after you convince him, he will not say, "Okay, let me think about it. Give me time." Right? And if you are single out there, just get ready. You can't be making decision anymore by yourself, right?
like I said, it has not done on me
Mm.
yet. Well, okay, so um,
You still living single boy
no, but
lifestyle.
honestly, it's more like this. Yeah? It's more like this. I think as at day before yesterday, well, yeah, sometime last week or there, but I looked at Zeno, I was like, eh? So this one, I'm now this one's father. What's this boy even doing here, Seth? What's this boy doing here? You know? And uh, okay, okay, this is my wife. Probably because I'm I'm pretty very much energetic and I'm very much out there. So I just have a very simple routine. I go do my business. Do work. Go to church. As at last year, they were still. Are you not coming for the singles meet? I say hello. Look at me very well. I'm like, oh, sorry, we don't even know. You know. So it's I wouldn't say it has hit me fully. Maybe I'm 95. But for now, I just I just observe this girl. Sometimes I dey observe the way she dey do for my house. So, like you go outside now,
Go to my father's house.
but it grows on me every day. Probably because we got married in pandemic, so everything happened quickly and fast. Pa pa pa. So I won't lie to you. I won't lie. Being honest, it's still booting. It's like 70, but we're getting there. You know. Sometimes I make a move. I'm like, hey, Moyo's like, hello,
You
bro.
didn't tell me.
You didn't. I'm like, sorry. So yeah. Thank you very much. It's shocking. I'm, I say
A
small me,
family man.
just me like this, just small me like this. What's going on? And Zeno makes it. Everywhere he goes to, my daddy, like he makes. If you don't have daddy before, don't be around the kid.
You will
Like
regret.
you will regret it. So, yeah. Oh god, I'm telling you. Oh my brother,
Yes.
that's the calling. That's the calling.
You see, the beauty is the women. I feel really that women are more prepared for marriage, right? We get into it on time and start to play the role. But pastors, please just be training the.
Any, anyhow you want to put it, it's okay, it's fine. Any, that's all. I confirm.
Hmm. Okay, I think for me, right? And okay, so we were ready for Zeno in the before we got married, right? And we knew that we're in it, right? There's no going back. And this baby is coming. The decision is made, right? So by the time I had Zeno, and we went through a lot because of my genotype. Pregnancy wasn't easy. We were literally living in the hospital. Like Erezi would get dressed, eat, go to the office, come back to the hospital again. So we were there pretty much from like the fourth month till I gave birth. It was always back and forth. Even with the COVID even made it easier because they just say, you know what, there's no need you for going, just be here, right? So it was difficult. It was difficult, and the pain was beyond um, what I usually used to experience. But when Zeno came, I I felt like it was worth everything. Just I was in the recovery room, and the body baby, I couldn't talk, I couldn't even cry out. Tears were just dropping my face. I couldn't move, and they put the baby beside me on the bed, and I was just there. Like I felt this peace. I wasn't feeling the pain anymore. And as we gradually went along, I realized that almost I wasn't ready for this mother thing, no, right? So, but I was learning on the job, and having him was like a wake up call for me. Like, you're not a baby anymore, right? You have a baby now, so you have to be responsible for yourself. But I struggled. I think it is. I think you settled in. I think he settled in better than me because even as at 6, 7 months old, when Zeno wakes up in the morning, he doesn't wake me up. He wakes Erezi up because he knows that if he wakes me up, I will not get up, right? I will find a way to help him to go back to sleep. So early morning, Erezi gets up, put water, and he didn't even know how to make pap in the beginning.
He's
He had to,
not. No,
yeah,
he's
he didn't
not.
know how to make pap. Oh. You don't know. I thought you
There's a
say
difference between not knowing and knowing but not making it. It's not something
it.
I.
I thought you had to make pap. Basic category, right? Anyway.
Let's just move on. Going
Mm,
on. Moving
mm,
on.
mm. So yeah, that beginning was hard, and then I was already struggling with painkillers, so it was it was hard. I didn't know who I was. I think it took me 3 years later to find out that it took me 3 years later to find out I actually had postpartum depression. But yeah, blood of Jesus covers everything, right? So when I was now seeing a psychiatrist, and he was saying, so when you gave it simple answers, right? Questions, right? So I was just being honest and he was like, you were depressed. How come nobody? I'm like, I am. I didn't really know. And also because I'm that happy, energetic girl, right? It just felt like, oh, I want to rest. I just gave birth. I don't even know what I want. COVID. And at that time, I had resigned from my job to do my business full time. So, COVID happening, getting pregnant, not everybody was buying shoe and bag during COVID. We were not even sure how we are going to make come out of it, right? So, I also felt like my business is not going well. If I had known, I shouldn't have just focused on this business. So it was difficult for me, coming into that mother space. But now, literally, when I think about doing certain things, like okay, maybe because I'm working now, maybe I say, "Oh, I want to resign from my job." I think about it myself. Let me just now I understand when our parents say they did a lot of things because of us, right? Because the sacrifices they had to make, they could have just said, I'm not doing it again, I beg any school is you put in. But whenever I think about okay, what was you eat? Oh, like in fact, every time I come back from work and it's something myself sorry, something myself Erezi and I have been doing, we always come back home with something for Zeno. So whether it's chocolate, whether it's sweet, just biscuits, anything. There was a time I bought biscuits like four in the office. So that as I'm leaving, I just pick one because when we come back, he says, "Oh, mommy, welcome, daddy, welcome." How are you? How was your day? What did you do today? That was not how it was initially. He just opens the door and, Mommy, what did you buy for me? Right? So we started to teach him how to say, How are you? How was your day? What did you do? Before you ask, What did you buy for me? So now he just says, Mommy, welcome. How are you? How was your day? What did you do today?
Bullet questions.
Right? And so, yeah, now I'm really getting into the motherhood thing. And it's interesting, even if sometimes I look at him, I'm like, but me, I'm somebody's child too, right? But I'm getting into it now. Yeah.
Parenting is beautiful. Um, I would say that it's a growth process, growing every day. For I think there's something that God instills in the man. It is in every man, you know, and when it's time, when you hit marriage, the clock just beams up, boom, husband, um, father, boom, beams up. Like you said, money hits your hand right now. The first 500 things is around mother, child, school fees, this, that, but you are alienated from the whole conversation until right now men now need encouragement to take care of themselves. Man, buy something for yourself. And you're like, okay, you know, but you're at that space where this is your office right now as a father, as a husband, and so as a parent, basically, it's been a growth process, and I had to um, beam that light very bright um, on time. Um, it's not been easy, but I'd say when you have good parents, it's also something that reflects on your life. Really had fantastic parents, so it was a no-brainer. Whatever you have seen and they have poured on you, just starts coming out. So there's some things I'm doing right now, and I'm like, in real
Sound
life,
like my dad.
I'm not like this. So if you leave me in real life, I'm not like this. But you're just doing it. You're just there. You're talking. Then I remember when I used to say small like, I don't like the way my parents used to shout at me, the way they used to talk to me. When I'm a parent, I will not all boy. If you see my pitch now, now I they scream. You know, they say don't worry, I won't beat my son. I roll out different color of belts quickly. Let's not talk too much. This is flogging stage. This is talking stage. You know, so it's an evolving process, and you learn every day. You learn every day. All that has been deposited in you. That's why when Scripture says that train up a child in the way he should go, when he's old, he will not depart from it. Just continue because you are training your child
Another generation.
to be a parent to your own child or to your grandchild. And so right now I would like to be most of the things is copy and paste as I saw them do, which they did very well. That's why if you're a terrible parent, which you don't know, trust me, your children will be terrible parents. There's no brainer about it.
Actually, just to add to that, right? I started to appreciate my parents more when I became a mom. I started to understand, like, really, I think my relationship with my mother got better when I became a mother. And then I understand, okay, this is what she was saying. You know, I remember when my mom, so before you sleep, myself and my immediate younger brother, you must recite the times table from 2 times to 15 times, right? And she would hold the book and she's looking at it. So you dare not make any mistake and think that you can pass it. She will not notice, right? So now Zeno brings work home. Zeno is very energetic like his daddy, and he can be very playful. So he's playing with the thing. And when I see him and Erezi, know that Erezi does not have patience. Don't do rubbish. If I show you how to write it once, do it the way I showed you. And Zeno is, I'm like, leave him for me. Come, sit down. With really calm. Oh, and I carry cane and I put it by my side. Write one, he writes it. Write two, he writes it, right? So I now said, now I understand. I felt like, my mother is too wicked. What is it said? I really didn't know that she was trying to tell me you cannot go spoiled. You can't go bad. Right? So even as young as Zeno is, there are some things that other children are doing he would now look at my eyes like, if you try that thing in your full life, don't try it. So yes, I think it's been good. Oh. It's not easy, right? But it's been good.
It's a journey of
It's
sacrifice,
one thing
basically.
I feel like I'm doing right. Yeah, I can hear you clearly. Yeah, I can. Mm-hmm. Mm, okay.
Uh, I would say that waiting seasons have been, to be honest with you, very honest with you. Mine has been like my waiting seasons have been like relays. Some things I'm still waiting for now. You know, it's like from one waiting season to another. I remember one time I asked Pastor Issy Geniba, just in a friendly chat, and I said, "So, at what point do we have this season end? You know, at what point do we transition?" And she said, "There's no timetable with God. It's not like the way they do it in Hollywood. You know, you hustle for a while or you push for a while, and then in 6 months, boom, it happens. Or you come to Lagos, and boom, it happens after 6 months. You know, stuff like that. Um, it's not like that. See, sometimes you can transition from one waiting season to another, and you're wondering like, shit, I should have a break right now. So God doesn't roll like that. Um, but one of the things I've come to see that with God, God can wait. God really can wait. God can wait, and you get to learn. So in that period, you trust Him more. You sometimes you pray and you stop praying, you get tired, you stay. But if you look clearly or you look closely, you will see that some things have left. Some things that you just ordinarily probably would have thought that maybe this I can't handle anymore, probably have been settled. So one of the key things is observation when you're waiting with God. Just observe, look around, observe. I'm in the theater space, and that's one of the places I function. And I was having a talk with one of my colleagues, and he said, how do we send a message, uh, in terms of a drama at the end of the year? And I was like, for me, I don't have anything in my head. What do I formulate? And then he said, uh, hope. And I was like, what do you mean? By the time he started speaking, says that it's been a rough year, it's been a rough season. And irrespective of the season, if you observe closely, you would see that as difficult as some things were, you still accomplish them. It's still a rough season, but as difficult as the season is or is going, some things have been settled. Some things are it didn't take you out. And so I bring that in this perspective of waiting. If you observe closely, you would see that the entire waiting season has not just been there, you've just been coasting in the cosmos. No. Some things have been settled. Sometimes some things just happen once. And at the end of the day, I believe God does it in a way that so that the end goal is not the aim for you. Like this, I'm waiting for. I get it. I take it as a trophy. At the end of the day, it might become an idol for you. I think He's very interested in waiting. So how have you? How have you been? How are you closer? How are you evolving? How are you learning? And so for my life, um, I would say I'm still in some waiting season. I'm trusting God. But some of them I have, I have observed and seen that God will never leave you. Even if you sometimes flop in it, never leave you. Never. That's just my submission to answer this.
Okay, getting into what he has shared and making it quite personal for us. We waited for a while. I waited. My head was almost like, oh no, right? So during the time of the pregnancy, I had mentioned that I started to take a lot of pain medication, and I realized that by the time I gave birth, I couldn't stop. So it's called pentazocine. It's an addictive drug and it's an injection. And at first, I didn't want to admit to myself that something was wrong. Until the first time that I overdosed, I got to the hospital and what, right? And it didn't stop there. And then, uh, I think a year after then, I went to rehab. Came out from rehab, did 5 6 months, and relapsed, and went back to rehab again. By the second time, I was already between me and God. We're having the conversation with God. I'm not going anywhere. If you don't want to kill me, I'm going to help you do the work. You're the one that is going to lose it. So I'm not joking. This is the kind of conversations I was having with God. Like, how? Okay, even if I did something wrong, God, can you not have mercy? Have I not always been serving you? Is there a time that I didn't push? In fact, when I moved to Lagos, I wanted to just, let all those be little. But I still couldn't run away from, serving you. It was heartbreaking. It was because I was out of control, right? And it was like Apostle Paul said the things I do not want to do, I found myself doing them. I found myself doing them over and over again, you know. But there was something my husband always used to say. He will first of all say, don't do anything to yourself because you go to hell. And if you know the way Rezi talks, he talks with passion. So when he's saying it to me, the thing is piercing my heart. I'm like, I don't care. If that's what God wants, let me go. Right? And he will say, Moye, a believer is never left without help. A believer is never left without help. Unless you have stopped believing. If you believe, he's never left without help. And I'm like, okay, sometimes I just say, you know what, I'm giving up. I'm not even trying anymore. Let me just keep going as it goes, right? Then my friend, funny enough, she came to see me. She knew what was going on, and she was like, "Moye, just be reading this scripture, read it over and over again." I didn't used to believe in those things. I'm like, I should be repeating scripture like as they had done. As I say incantation, right? And it was one of those psalms, and I didn't used to like those things. So I said, okay, at that point, anything, anything you ask me to do right now, I will do it. And it wasn't like, oh, with full chest, oh, I'm literally useless, crying. If you see my pictures then, you'll be wondering what everybody in church, a few people knew, the leaders in church knew what we're going through. But everybody, they are always, I stopped going to church. I stopped leaving the house. Because when I go to church, people always say, oh, hi, how are you? Are you okay? Are you sick? What's wrong with you? It was too much. In fact, it got so bad, I stopped coming out from the room. If I come out from the room, maybe I can take water or take something and I go back immediately. I'm always in the room, right? And it was a struggle for us. Knowing that money was going, it wasn't cheap. It wasn't cheap, but I always found a way to get it. And I didn't even have to leave the house to get it anymore. And I think that is, the devil was taking advantage of the gifts that I had, where I could already says, okay, mommy, we are going to do this, and but this guy is not, I'll say reason, go inside, leave me, let me negotiate with this person. And really I will get the deal done. So I think that's gift I had with influencing people, I put it to use perfectly for the will of the devil. And just kept going on. But so when I started reading that psalm, it is the psalm where David was saying, Lord, have mercy on me. Do not take your spirit away from me. Do not take your love away from me. I kept praying, I kept saying it, I kept saying it. So, in fact, I don't know how many times she was saying I should say it every day, but more, I'll say that more than 100 times every day. In fact, after injecting, I'm saying it, I'm saying it, I'm saying it, I'm saying it. I'm like, God, how now? If anybody, not me, and there was even a time I will count all the people that I know that have maybe smoked weed once or twice and say, so that person is bad. Where did you not let the person get hooked? Why is it me? Why me? One day my auntie now said, Moya, if not you, then who? I looked at her, I'm like, are you saying I deserve it? She said, no. I'm saying if God does not throw this at you, who should he have? Your mom, your sister, your brother. I'm like, no, I don't wish this for my worst enemy. She said, exactly. So ask God, what am I doing here? And you see, everybody's talking about process. I was praying, I said, God, I know that you have the ability to make me wake up in the morning and forget what this drug even is. Right? I know you have the ability to wipe it off my memory completely. I know you have the ability to rewire my brain and every drop of addiction is gone. I know you have the ability. But why are you not doing it? So when I had that conversation with her, she was like, ask God tough questions. What are you asking me? Why have you met this before me? Are you Job? So that's what Job kept crying about. That's the whole book of Job. When God now warned him and said, how dare you? And I say, it's like I've said more than Job. Oh. It's like I've said more than Job to God, though. By this time, thunder is supposed to just take me once, right? And I'm sure God knows that. I was just saying those things so that you can kill me righteously. But so when she said that, I said, okay, God, why? How am I here? He said, process. It was a process that I used to get into it. It's a process you used to get out of it. And at that point, I started to be open about it. So it wasn't a secret anymore. Even my husband would be like, are you so free to talk about it? I'm like, I'm already there. Anybody that wants to make it a side gist, you can as well just do that. And we were now really looking for help. The rehab I went to the second time, I told him, give me the person's number. He said no. In his mind, he thought, maybe when it's close to the time, I'll run away. He said it actually. I said, give me the number. Because at this point, you're not going to just take me somewhere. I want to know where I'm going to. I want to be sure that this person can help me. I want to speak. He said, no. I said, okay, it's me now. It's no more yet. I went online, looked for the rehab. I knew it was in jail. So I just, because at that time I was like, if I come out from this place and God, you don't do your work, no. I will know that you choose to hate me from the very beginning. So when I was in Jos, and in fact, the first rehab I went, I read the Bible Genesis to Revelation because I'm like, hey, God, I must encounter you. But process, right? So when I was in Jos was not a Christian place. If you like, don't pray. If you like, pray. If you like, don't come out. If you like, come out. Shall just take your drugs. Shall just try. If you don't even want to come out for um, your therapy sessions, they will first leave you. It's your money that is wasting, right? But I went intentionally. If you see the way I was packing, you would think I'm packing to my husband's house. I moved saying, if I don't feel good, I'm not leaving. I'm not going to come back to this life that I'm not going to, like, so by the time we got there, and God was faithful, faithful. God uses people. He uses people. Like even the people you don't think he would use. At this point, when I was leaving, my husband was In fact, it was God that was keeping the marriage, because I guess if he wasn't my friend, right, I wouldn't have still had marriage by the time I came back, you know. So I think that's too. God was keeping the marriage. And I think God also knows that I needed that support. If I wasn't married to someone as grounded spiritually as him, I'm sure would have just, just move left and right. Because we kept using the word of God. He will say, Moya, fine, I know that even if I throw everything in this house away, even if I check, I know that you still have something hidden somewhere. Can you just take the communion before you take it and take the communion after you take it? It sounded crazy. It sounded crazy. So just take communion. Please just take communion. You know. And I'll be like, okay, no problem. If that's what you say, I take communion, quote, 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 quote. And the days I try to hold myself is as if I'm sweating, I'm cold. It's like everything is spinning around, and I'm like, no, 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 I can't hold it. I can't hold it anymore. When I got to Jos, the first thing God was showing me was, are you not ashamed of where you are? And I was like, just seeing all the people there and seeing how much of life I know more than them. Well, so it's not about your what you know, it's not about what you've been through. It is the process that you have allowed yourself to go through with me. I said, okay, fine. And even in the midst of all of these things, God never takes your gift away from you. So that's why you can be in a position and you're struggling with immorality, you're struggling with sin, you're struggling with loss, you're struggling with anger, and you still have your gifts working for you. So when I got to rehab, I became leader. I started to do things, and I started to find value in life again. Remember, I said my son, I loved him, but I wasn't. And then they found out that the implants I had on was hormonal, and it could mess with my mental health. Adding to the fact that I already had postpartum depression after I gave birth. All of these things we didn't know, right? Process. And by the time I got there, they introduced some drug. They said, okay, since you already have depression, it will be hard for you to pull out of this drug that you are on, because your body will be craving for different things. So instead of you to now look for something else for your body to feed on, let's start treating the depression. Now, the place I went to before was more like one of those family prayer house church kind of thing. So we didn't really go into all of that. So process, asking God, where should I go to? How are you going to help and all of that. So in all of that, we still had a powerhouse of prayer. My church, they were praying for me every morning, every day, every day. My husband, when we talk, by the time we finish talking, he will pray over me. This is just, I didn't have anybody, you know. I say, God, this season we have waited, right? And the day God showed up, I had a dream. In a dream, okay, so before then, I used to have dreams of taking the injection by myself in the dream, or being administered in the dream. So this particular day, I think I was even working. So we went to do a shoot outside of because I was already now volunteering with them. We went to do a shoot outside of the center. And by the time we came back, I was so tired. That day was stressful. So I just went straight to my room and I slept. And I had a dream. In the dream, a building was burning. The building was like a hostel or something, like a school for children, and the building was burning. So there were few adults. So I was running in, bringing out children, making sure they are safe. I go back in and pull out children. So when I came out with some children, someone came to meet me, an adult said, I know that you must be very tired. I kept something for you to help you relax in your room. I said, oh, thank you very much. I'm grateful. So when I entered the room, I saw that it was already loaded, right? And I said, no. I came out and I said, no, I'm sorry. I don't need it. I'll be fine. I just need to sleep. I'll be fine. When I woke up from that dream, I was screaming, I'm crying, I'm praying. I'm like, this is the first time, you know. it's easy for you to say no to something in your when you are conscious. It's a different thing for you to say no to something when in your mind, right? So I said, in fact, they heard me praying and they came in. Fine, you know I pray, so I like my privacy a lot. I mean, like, are you okay? I said, "Yes, I'm fine, I'm fine." See, they know me as very emotional because I was a wreck. I was always crying. Even I'm happy, I just start crying. I didn't have control of anything. And they're like, okay, don't worry, she's crying, she's fine. At least I'm not laughing, right? So by the next day, I told doc when my doctor came, I said, "Doctor, see what happened." And he said, "You know that you are breaking out." He said, "What we psychiatrists deal with is harder than any other form of medicine because you can do a test and see that okay, this person is recovering. But for psychiatrists, you can't. You just follow, keep following the person's mind to see what place the person is at." And he was like, the best thing is that you can say no in your subconscious. And he just said, "Well, but you know, I'm not afraid. You know that you are here because you still want to be here." I was like, but this was the fourth month. I was supposed to do 6 months. I was like, "But doctor, let me just stay the 6 months." He said, "It's not about the time. There are people who stay in rehab. I met someone with the same issue, the same drug, who did 9 months in South Africa. The very day he landed Nigeria, he went to buy it. Right? So he was saying, fine, we usually say 6 months for opioid, but uh, I'm looking at you. You are okay. I've had several times, I've left the center several times doing work, going up and down, and it's typical. If they escape, anybody escapes from rehab, they're going straight to buy something. I say, you think I've not been observing you? And I say, but okay, can I just stay like 2 weeks, 3 weeks? Let me just see how it goes. And that the next night, um, Apostasy was preaching because I was now even able to be on my phone, and she was saying, "Ask God tough questions. Don't come and be asking God why me." She was saying it in respect to something else completely. But I felt like she was talking directly to me. At this point, tell God what you want. At this point, ask God, "God, what am I going to do? How am I going to sustain this?" And when I did that, it was processed. It was processed. Moses, at every time, he could have just killed Pharaoh and say, "Oh yeah, Israelite, take over Egypt, take over everywhere. I'll kill everybody." Right? But he took them through the process because he wanted them to get to know him first, to know him, to know the God that he is. And said, okay, when I came out, all of this I was sharing with my husband. When I came out, I didn't come out with, "Oh, I'm confident I can do this now." I came out with one day at a time. One day at a time. One day at a time is a year and about 6 months now. One day at a time. And when my auntie asked, "Maria, how is it coming?" I said, "Today is fine. I've learned not to boast about tomorrow, but you see this today. I know that nothing can happen this today. So when tomorrow comes, we'll do tomorrow on again." And that's just been the season of waiting. It wasn't easy. I doubted God. I I did plenty things, but really did not doubt. So sometimes I felt like he does not understand what I was going through. I felt like he was saying, "Man, a believer is never left without help." It took me coming out of it completely to understand what he was going through. I look at him and I say, "Ah, this is not the man that I married." Because there was a night that he woke up in the middle of the night and was praying and praying and praying. Me, I was under the influence. So I could hear him pray. I was just like, "Why is it disturbing my sleep now?" Because I lost the ability to fall asleep on my own. So I will stay up all night, watch movie, be cooking, be going up and down. I can't sleep. If I don't take it, I can't sleep. Right? And I had to take like higher dosage before I can even sleep. So when he woke up that night and it was next day, he said, "I had a dream and God was saying, so is this how you're going to let your wife die?" So I said, "No, my wife cannot die." I said, eh? In all of that, right? He was waiting. I was just there. I was like, okay, what happens next, God? He was waiting. So sometimes I think God has a reason for him looking at um, Adam and saying it is not good for him to be alone,
Mhm.
right? because if I was alone in that period, I would have died. My parents did not understand what was happening. So all of the weight was on him. All of the weight was on my husband, and my parents did not understand. In fact, as at the first rehearsal, my parents did not know what was going on. Right? They just came and thought, "Oh, I'm not feeling well. Okay, I will be fine." They didn't know that I was in too deep. And God said it is not good that she will be alone. He said, if one fall, the other will lift him up. For me, that was it. So even when I come out, sometimes I'm really angry with him. I just look at him and say, "Like, for now, who will lift me up?" So yes, waiting season, and that has even strengthened us the most. It has, it has. So sometimes we look at some marriages and we say, "So 10 years, our marriage don't pass with our marriage." The challenge that we have seen, the things that we have been through together, I'm not sure there's anything that can hit us like that, because in fact, I guess family and friends will be looking at him like, "What are you still doing there? You can't stay." Even, and it was logical. We went to one hospital and the girl was saying, "Well, you know that your wife can never stop." I said, If I beat this girl now, they will say, "Oh, I'm getting aggressive." So it's a sign of the it's a sign of what I'm taking, right? She was just saying to me, I said, "I go beat you." And I'll even say it's mental health issue. So it's all right. And then she was saying, but she wasn't lying, right? Opioid addiction is not a drug. It's higher than the kind of addiction you have with cocaine. It's not a drug that you get into and come out of. And it takes the grace of God. But same with every challenges. Um, with couples in church, and my church were quite open. Mm. So it's the same with every challenge. Are you waiting for a child? Are you waiting for a job? Now, when we are praying, there are certain kind of prayer points we don't pray about again, because we are just like, God is looking at the two of us like, if I can save you from that one, is it a house that you're looking for that you will not get? Is it a job you're looking for that you will not get? So if you are listening, if God can pull me out of opioid addiction, there's no season that will be too long for you to wait. Trust Him, trust the process. Yeah. Mm, mm, mm,
True. Yeah.
mhm. Yeah. Mm, mhm. Yeah. Mhm. Yes, in this situation.
Oh,
Thank you. Mm.
thank God. Thank God.
Thank you. Mm.
Amen. Thank God.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Celebrating.
Amen. Yes. Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. True.
Esther, we can't hear you very well. Yeah. Okay. You're paying fine purpose. Oh yeah. Oh yes. Um. Mm. So, I think by the second month, PI came to visit me in the center. She came to just say, "I want to see where you are. I hope you're okay. You're taking care of you well, and all of that." And sat down at the waiting room, and she came with some other pastors, and we're just having a normal conversation. And I'm saying, "Oh, the place is nice. This is happening. That is happening." And she said, "You can't go through pain for free. You can't go through pain for free." So you see this pain. I see all of these things that you have gone through. Because if I start to say how much, let's even leave how much I spent on drugs. Just the money, going to rehab and looking for solution, going from one psychiatrist to another. She said, "You can't go through this pain for free." I said, "Yeah, I know." But at that time, I didn't know what I wanted. Or like the third month there, I said, "Oh God, you mean all of this is going on with people and people don't even know?" If say I had seen someone in the beginning of all of this, we had seen someone who has gone through it to say, "Oh, this is how I was able to scale out, this is where I went to, this is the things I did, this is the test I did," and all of that, it would have been easier. Won't have spent as much money that we had spent, and we won't have wasted as much time as we would have, because we didn't just in the beginning we were just like, okay, it's not that bad, it's not that bad, until it really got worse. So the first thing for me was that I don't wish this for my worst enemy, right? I was not ashamed anymore. I think one of the things that addiction does to people, and is one of the things I've even noticed, is that stop being ashamed, because you can even beg a baby for money just to, you know, get the drug. So if shame has been taken away from me, by all means, I should be able to use it. So my husband at first was like, like his normal self. Let me think about it. I said, okay, sir, think about it. But by the time I came out, and I was really open. I'm usually very open with my journey, because it is not a journey that you start and say, "Oh, I have finally run the race." The race does not end until you meet Jesus. So until Jesus tarries, it is a journey that you must go through. So I'm not. I don't give any information out, because I feel like I want to help somebody else, right? This whole pain, this whole shame, this whole, you know, all of the things, I don't want another person to go through it. So by the time I came out, my husband was like, "Okay, I think we can share." And so far, I think like five. Okay, so the fourth one went to another rehab. I don't know which rehab, but five people have successfully said, "Okay, I will go," and then gradually started rehab. I have someone who's already out and all of that. And even for the people who cannot afford rehabilitation, just even knowing that there is hope. Okay, you can't do inpatient. How about say a psychiatric and have visits gradually, and even for so I now coming out, I found out that a lot of people living with sickle cell usually have opioid addiction. I didn't, to be honest, I didn't know we had rehabs in Nigeria until I had issues. Very honest, I didn't know we had rehab. I knew from school that, oh, the drug can get addictive, but it just dawned on me one day that I can't stop, right? So for me, it was my pain. I can't go through my pain for free. I can't. So, devil, I'm going to snatch some people out of your hand as much as I can, right? And then some people even reaching out to me, "Oh, I went to rehab before, it didn't help." I say, "Oh, hello, I went to rehab before, go again," you know. And even knowing that it is a chronic, relapsing situation. So I know. So what I'm saying to you is, you can't stop. You can't say, "Oh, I've not taken it for 3 months, I'm okay." No, you can't stop. You start fighting for every day, and just helping. Someone reached out to me, and it was her husband. And she was like, the first thing I asked her, I said, "Please, are you Christian? Do you have a church? Which church you go to?" Because you need a support system around you. It's not enough for you to get help medically. You need a support system. It is a spiritual battle, right? It is a spiritual battle. It is not, if it is something you can do by your own strength, I'm sure Rizzi would have helped me, and pushed me and given me all the strength. It is a spiritual battle. it is something you are doing that you don't know you are doing, and you're like, why is everybody talking to me like this? Why is everybody right? And so I was saying to her, I'm like, Ma, you need to wake up for your husband, right? Good for me. I had a husband that was doing that for me. I said, but you have to wake up. You are in the office of the wife. If the husband is not performing, you are VP. Get up and wake up for your husband. Get a community. PI and everybody in PI, they were praying, raising altars for me. My church, they were praying. So it was strong. My family, my mother in law. And there was never a time that we were left without help, to be honest, because my mom came taking care of, as soon as my mom is leaving, my mother-in-law is around. So they didn't give that gap for him to even feel like something is amiss, right? When I came back, it's like, yeah, he first looked at me and slept back, but we got in at night, and I think maybe he thought he was dreaming. Then he woke up, and I was in the kitchen trying to look for something to eat, and I just saw somebody beside me. And like he just said, Mommy, as if nothing, So I just said, it can't work. It can't work. All of that pain, all of that money. Sometimes we look at where we are right now. Say, Erase it. You know that we would have done A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. We say, but shall we thank God, because there are people on the streets that it's just drug that they could have gotten rehabilitated from. But because they didn't have a support system, they are out there. There are people who they are drying up from inside. There's someone who it wasn't even this drug that she was taking, but her leg was getting rotting from inside, from underneath. They had to amputate her leg. I have one that the girl sent me that they had to do like a full surgery to remove all of the muscle and everything in her leg, and it was terrible. So I'm like, have to make sure nobody gets to that point. Have to make sure families, mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, wives, husbands know that you can find help, and you can get through it. The shame is already gone, right? I'm not there anymore. So if somebody say, mini shows and I oh my dear, yeah, right, to my chest, because I'm out of it now. So yeah, I just felt like nobody should go through what I went through, not even my worst enemy. Mm-mm. Mhm. Sorry, appreciate appreciate yourself.
Okay, this is how we appreciate.
Okay, so sorry, did you ask me to do something? I couldn't hear you guys clearly. Appreciate myself. How do you appreciate yourself?
I
Appreciate yourself.
thought this is the
Oh,
okay. We
okay.
appreciate
Appreciate.
us.
I used to
Okay, now
appreciate. Oh, what I used to
as
appreciate.
like he said, as you wherever you place it is okay.
Appreciate you. Thank you. Mwah. I've appreciated you more. Appreciate me back.
I appreciate you.
No, we know the way we used to do our own. Don't worry. It's not words of affirmation. It's what's it called?
Deeds of affirmation.
It's really deep. Thank you.
Thank you.
And your platform has been a blessing to us as well. So thank you. Mm. Mm. Mm.
God bless you
God bless
too.
you too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. And like.
Bye.
Bye.